Hello everyone, it's Monstertaming coming to another Kindred team review. This time we're going to be reviewing another one of Separated's teams. As we can see here, we're going to be starting off with a pretty much a stark contrast to the last team we reviewed, in which I was complaining that it was a little bit too vulnerable, where this team has plenty of sustain. So, let's see the differences. We have Slifer with Peach. Something you don't see often, but considering the rest of the team comp, I completely understand it, and I do not think it was a bad choice at all. In fact, I actually kind of like Slifer with the Peach. I just rarely ever play it myself because of my playstyle when I do play Slifer, but I do love the idea of Slifer with the Peach. Slifer is pretty squishy, and it really feels nice to give Slifer some more sustain like that. You'd love to see a Startle, Crescent Strike. Talked about why these are good many times. Brief overview. Startle will soften them up, especially for your Salamurder, who's going to be running Black Mask. Crescent Strike, I think, is a more potent version of Swipes. You just have to play around it a little bit. And then Fling is absolutely amazing whenever you can hit all three of them. Especially if you can stun someone. Like if you do put them to sleep or use Stunner Flies from Kadoki down here, then and fling them, you will feel great about it. If you can actually just hit fling without a stun, you'll feel even better. Bounce is great movement. Pilfer is great utility. Overall, I really like the Slifer. Salamurder running Black Mask is extremely risky in my opinion because Salamurder's weird. Like Salamurder has a lot of health, but he's so easy to kill. Like, if you look at his stats, he has a lot of special defense, just in comparison to everyone else. Like, I think he has, some of the most, if not the most, special defense in the game. Maybe Shovelet might have more. And he does have the most health by far. But still, he just feels so dang squishy. Maybe it's because there's normal defense, but, I mean, even that's not bad. It's probably just because of how easy of a target he is to hit. Even when you hit him with Righteous Light or something and it doesn't do a lot of damage, you still feel like, haha, Salamurder, I got you. And then he's just looking there with his little sad face down here because they can't do anything. Going off subject a little bit is I kind of think Salamurder really needs a move like Reflect, probably. That would probably make Salamurder great. If you give him some way to help him versus ranged Kinfolk or increase the range on hook or something like that. But yeah. On the subject at hand, Black Mask is a little bit risky because Salamurder is going to probably get killed relatively quickly, and Black Mask makes it a little bit easier especially if you use Startle. I can understand it though. Like, I do not fault the Black Mask. I do not say you shouldn't use the Black Mask. I just always advise caution. Black Mask, I put a big old yellow exclamation mark over Black Mask whenever somebody uses it. Separated is very much experienced enough to make use of this, but for the general player, I say be careful with Black Mask. Bite, wonderful damage. Crescent Strike, wonderful damage. Hook, Howl, you literally have to have it. Startle, I would rather run Startle than Riptide as well. The only way that Riptide's particularly useful is whenever you're trying to break a shield, which doesn't happen almost ever anymore, now that you can't move people while they're shielded. If they ever add the ability to hook shielded kinfolk back, I think that would be another great buff to Salamurder, and that would make Riptide very valuable. I would replace Startle in a heartbeat, most likely, but you don't want to use Riptide and Black Mask, it's just not worth it. So yeah, the Salamurder is completely understandable. And now we move on to Lumala. Lumala with rations. Do I prefer Lumala with rations or do I prefer Lumala with a status cure is a good question. I think I prefer Lumala with rations. I just use him with a status cure on my main team because I prefer Skullkin with rations over Lumala with rations. But on this team, if I had to say who you put rations on, I do agree. Lumala with rations is nice because you make Lumala even more annoying than she already is. Their basic attack's horrible, but that's every ranged basic attack in the game. Angelic Ray is bread and butter. I can't really see anybody playing Lumala seriously without putting Angelic Ray on it. It does help counteract Black Mask. Not as much as you think. That was one of the big things. It's oh, we were all excited about when Angelic Ray finally healed your allies. Fun fact, Angelic Ray used to only damage enemies, not heal allies. And we were all excited about Angelic Ray Black Mask combos, but it never really works. It helps, but it does not counteract Black Mask. Um, Reflect makes Lumala a almost unkillable tank. Like if you have somebody on your team that doesn't have melee, if you do not have someone on your team that has melee, Lumala's Reflect will absolutely destroy you. If you do have melee, though, you still need to be able to catch Lumala, so you're going to need something like a Slifer. Slifer and maybe Avion are the only ways you can really beat a Lumala with a Reflect, in my opinion, or beat them consistently, anyways. Rush helps you get away from stuff like Shovelet. Shovelet would be a good counter to Lumala if you didn't have Rush, so Rush is an amazing choice here. And then Righteous Light is good for whenever you need to damage somebody. If they slip up and you're able to catch them off guard with the damage, it's very nice. So that's just Lumala. Very, very hard to kill. Very, very annoying. Great team utility. Pretty mediocre damage, but honestly, probably more survivable than a Shovelet or a Kadoki with Rations and Reflect and Angelic Ray. Alright, so for Kadoki, Aloe, that's great. One of my favorite ways to get rid of Kadoki is by using Scorch on it, so personally, I can understand why you would run Aloe on Kadoki. Guy of Volley sucks, but you have no choice. Kadoki doesn't really have any other good moves. Wicked Thorn, also not great, but it does provide some cover for you, and can, on occasion, do something against a melee kinfolk if somebody's running a melee build against you. So that's some situational value there. Stunner Flies is absolutely amazing. A wonderful, wonderful move. Stunner Flies is up there, probably alongside stuff like Reflect as being one of the best moves in the game, because that it's just so much utility. Your opponent has to run or it has to kill them. There's no in between. You cannot stand at Stunner Flies or else you lose. So Stunner Flies gives them a really hard choice. Spore Dance, after the nerf, it's a lot worse. Like, I feel like the nerf was justified. I was one of the biggest people screaming for the nerf, but I do also feel like Spore Dance could probably be a little easier to land, like have a little bit more range, be a little bit more forgiving, because it's not that bad when you get hit by it nowadays. But when you do hit it, if you're good enough to hit it, then it will set you up for a nice combo. You can use pretty much any kinfolk besides Lumala on this team with Spore Dance. Spore Dance, Twister, not wonderful, but it does decent damage. Spore Dance into like Howl, into Hook, into, all Salamurder's combos, or just Spore Dance into a 3-item fling are all nice choices. Twister doesn't do a ton of damage, but is Kadoki's only damage because his basic attacks do, like, I can't remember how much it did against the Lumala I was fighting one time, but I think it would have been like over a dozen hits to kill them, like well over a dozen, I think. It is something ridiculous like that. And that's not counting if your opponent's Lumala is going to have Angelic's Ray and stuff like that, but obviously that's just against Lumala, and Lumala's special defense is pretty high, but then you look at like something like Salamurder with like double the health and stuff, and heck, even Slifer is going to be harder to hit, so yeah, Guy of Volley is going to do very little against almost any kinfolk in the game. Twister is going to be your main source of damage. Guy of Volley is going to be more to ping people and be annoying. Now for what I think about this team, I think the team is like Chef's Kiss on balance. You have two incredibly hard and incredibly annoying to kill kinfolk via Kadoki and Lumala. Lumala has the team utility to heal your teammates and heal themselves, has the tankiness of Reflect. Kadoki has the ability to annoy people with Sunnerflies and Spore Dance, and his passive, Germate, you see here, heals yourself. These two are going to be really hard to kill, and then these two are going to have some pretty good damage. Salamurder, especially with Black Mask, are going to do huge damage. Slifer can help him get close. Hook can help him if you're not close. Lumala can help negate Black Mask. Overall, I like how every single aspect of this team feeds into each other. I have no real complaints about it besides that just the moves themselves, I think, need a little tuning in certain areas. Like some of them might be too strong or too weak. Like, I'm still bouncing back and forth whether or not I think Reflect is too powerful, but I definitely think Light Burst and Gaia Volley are way too weak, and I think Poor Salamurder requires way too much setup. But overall, there's nothing wrong with the team's composition. It is a brilliant team and is built into each other very well. Yeah, hope you guys enjoyed. This is my Monstertamer Boba signing off. Hope you have a wonderful day. Goodbye. God bless. And I'll see you all next time. Bye bye.